It's Vyvanse day 3. I slept last night a little bit, way more than I did the first 2 nights of taking this. And so I'm curious to see if that's gonna have any effect on my day. I love medication. Cheers. Let's go check on the garden. Ending the morning editing a YouTube video about ADHD on the walking pad. Okay, end of day 3 on Vyvanse. So I had a really bad crash tonight. Had feelings of impending doom, anxiety, really bad irritability. What I will say is I did not drink any electrolytes and I didn't really feel great, and I'm also close to my period. That is something that happened. It lasted about 2 hours, and I sat down. The thing that helped, I sat down and I like scrolled TikTok for a little bit, and I took some supplement and started drinking my liquid IV, and that helped. So anyways, I just want to be honest. Day 3 was great, and then 2 hours was really tough, and then I'm feeling pretty like just normal. It's 5:30 in the morning. I've not really been able to sleep past 5 ever since starting the medicine, but also I'm close to my period, and so whenever I am a few days out, I have trouble sleeping anyways, so I don't have enough data to conclusively say the medicine is waking me up. I have decided to take the medicine later today because I took it at 5 a.m. yesterday and it wore off at 5 p.m. right when I was making dinner for my kid, and I had a pretty bad crash yesterday. I also didn't eat very well yesterday, so I'm gonna take it a little bit later, so hopefully the crash starts happening a little bit closer to bed. So that means I'm gonna have some real coffee this morning. It's 7:59. The morning was going great so far. One thing I noticed this morning is that usually I'm a morning person and my mind is better in the morning, but I still get like a little bit fussy, like especially if my kiddo is having a stressful morning and then immediately it's like a lot of stimulation. He kind of had a morning and I was totally chill about it. And I woke up at 5-ish, so I've been up for 3 hours. I don't know, does it like, I guess, I don't know what that's about. 5th day of Vyvanse. I'm taking it with breakfast today just to see if that does anything. It's data collecting time. We're just gonna see. Okay, it is day 5. I'm currently on a walk/jog in the graveyard, but it's day 5 of ADHD medications. Yesterday, day 4, another data collecting day. I had a bunch of coffee before I took my Vyvanse, and that caused like a really weird, I don't even know what it was, between 1 and 3, where I felt like I had the postpartum blues and everything was just so weird. And then it evened out later, like I didn't have a crash as I normally would. I could feel the medication wearing off, but it was totally smooth. So today I ate my Vyvanse with breakfast and no caffeine. I will be having no caffeine today. I usually have a lot, and we will see how that works. I did take a Benadryl to try to go to sleep last night because I always have trouble with sleep, and I was like, I just want one good night of sleep. And I woke up irritable and groggy, as I always do, coming off of Benadryl. And I worried that that was really going to put a damper on how the Vyvanse was going to kick in. I wasn't quite sure, because something that I have noticed with Vyvanse is that kind of the mental state of mind I'm in when I take it, I don't know if it's psychosomatic, but it really does feel like it delineates the rest of my day, or definitely those initial 5 to 6 hours when it's really working. And so before I took it, I was like, okay, come on. Today is going to be whimsical. Today is going to be magical. I did my self-coaching things that I always do to myself, because I struggle with anxiety, depression, ADHD, overwhelm every day. And I have structures in place that I have built for myself that help in those moments. So I just need to do those. Also on medication, because that doesn't mean that I don't still need those. So I don't know. I took my meds, ate, and then I did drop off with the child, and then I went I'm still on a jog little run. Go home, I've got a lot of writing to do, and gonna see what I can tweak in the afternoon just to gather more data about how the rest of the day goes. But I'm curious to see if eating it with breakfast might mitigate some of the afternoon spikes. So one thing I have noticed is that I am noticing my autism more, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I don't feel like it's amped up. ADHD still feels like the really overbearing eldest sister, and my autism feels like the middle kid who's like, However, I'm not as much of I didn't really necessarily identify with being a people pleaser. I think I was just trying to make the most out of the social interactions, because however good a person felt was like, okay, at least I did something there. Like, maybe that's a people pleaser. I don't know. I didn't necessarily feel like, oh, I need them to like me. I was just like, let's both have a good time in this conversation right now. How about that? And I've been noticing some of the conversations, I just am not doing that anymore. I'm just very aware of like when I don't understand something, or they say something and I'm like, that makes absolutely no sense what you just said at all. And usually with ADHD, when I have a confusing emotion, my ADHD is like, let's go to something instead, or like, let's let that off. How about that? Or it's such a distractor, and I have really used aspects of my ADHD to not deal with some aspects of like anxiety, depression, autism, textures and stuff, because I'll just busy myself. Like last night at dinner, I didn't pack my kids' lunch. I usually do it the night before while he's eating dinner, because I don't like the sounds of everybody eating. So I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna pack dinner. How about that? How about I make some chia pudding? Or I get really anxious for the next day and I'm like, time to meal prep everything. I didn't do any of that. So I woke up this morning, I was like, oh, I gotta pack my kids' lunch. But when everybody was eating, I was like, oh, look at all these sounds. I'm trying to frame this all as positives for myself, because there's no like sense. That's just it's just how I like to do things. I don't want to really view everything as a negative, because I was feeling those emotions all the time. I was just covering them up with distractions, and it wasn't like I wasn't feeling, it was registering in my body. And so now I get to deal with them and figure out new coping mechanisms, or honesty, or whatever. Like, it's all fine and good. It's all a discovery. I just got home from my run, took a shower. I'm about to do a writing day at the coffee shop, and my plan is to stay there for a long time and get some writing done for my book about the two Shakespeare professors vying for the same tenure track position. And this is what I am prepping to take with me. I thought this would be helpful. I have found that electrolytes in the afternoon are extremely helpful for me. My first 2 days on this, I took electrolytes in the afternoon, and my crash was not bad those 2 days. I haven't the other day, so there is that. I do the liquid IV one. I have a bunch of food allergies, so all of these are allergy friendly. So I have my electrolyte drink, which I have for the afternoon, and then I have another of just plain water. So these are both coming with me this afternoon. For my food, really the only thing that I have been craving the last few days in the afternoon is like, I want a piece of toast or a bagel. I want like quick carbs today. But even still, it's not like super satisfying. I don't necessarily want to eat it. So today I am experimenting with doing some more mindful, like complex carbohydrates and fats and protein to see if that also helps in the afternoon, and also like keep my nutrition up, because like, yes, fat is best, but I cannot live on gluten-free Hanover pretzels forever without having some type of serious side effect. So I have a little bit of white beans, rice, turkey, and carrots, avocado. Does any of this sound appetizing? No, but nothing does. So I might as well force myself to do this sometime in the afternoon, or like throughout the afternoon, instead of like a handful of pretzels and a protein shake, because I just don't think that that's going to be very sustainable for me long term. So I'm going to experiment with this. If it goes really poorly, then I'll know that I'm just not there yet to force myself to do some stuff. There is no flavoring in this. That is one thing. I don't need strong anything. So this is what I'm preparing to take with me for my workday at the coffee shop, which I hope will last from like 10:30 now. I still need to get ready, so like maybe 11:30 to 3:30 or 4:30 before I pick up my kid. I am going to prepare myself for an afternoon crash because I had one yesterday, so I'm just gonna pretend I don't want to be surprised by it. If it starts to happen, I have my electrolytes, and then I'll leave the coffee shop and go on a walk and see if maybe some of the movement helps kind of stabilize some stuff. So that's what we're doing. Okay, it's 11:08. We're gonna see how this work stuff goes. Packed everything. Okay, so we're ending this day really well in that I started my period in the middle of the afternoon, actually, yay, which is very exciting. So I feel like the last 2 days with the weird dips and the weird crash on Sunday probably had a little bit to do with that. My period has been really irregular, so I've not had a period in 3 months. So this was the luteal phase from hell. So that did happen. I had no caffeine today. We'll see how that goes tonight for sleep, but I had no caffeine today. And also, instead of relying on protein shakes, I tried to get all of my food from Whole Foods today, and that also really helped. I also took my Vyvanse with breakfast, which helped. It felt like it didn't punch me in the face, and I actually like that better. Like, it felt smoother. It didn't feel like it was less efficient. It just didn't feel like it sped up my motor so quickly that I was like, oh, I can't catch up. And so that's what today was, which is very exciting. I also went on a run this morning, and during the run, I was sort of contending with like some depression and anxiety things, which I already have that with PMDD. And on the run, while my Vyvanse was kicking in, I was telling myself a mantra that I usually tell myself other days when I'm not on medication, when I'm not feeling great, which is you still get to choose what this day looks like. You might not choose how this day feels, but you still get to choose what this day looks like. And so I ran in the cemetery, and I listened to a When Harry Met Sally soundtrack, and I set my intentions for the day, and that I would not worry if I was going to have a bad crash. These were my intentions for the day, and I was going to stay on top of things, which also helped because it helped me, be positive and remind myself that I'm here, I can do this. So ended up being a great day. I didn't feel a crash. I didn't feel anything at all. Even the first day, I definitely felt it wear off. Like, I was exhausted and very, very hungry, or just like, I don't know, it was just different. And then today, I think a big thing was staying on top of eating. I made myself eat every 3 hours. It wasn't a lot, but it was like beans, rice, turkey, carrots, avocado. And I suckled on that for 7 hours, and apples and sun butter. And that was it. That was my day. And it was fine. And then I had lentil soup at dinner, and I had no crashes. I stayed on top of my electrolytes, so we'll see. I also don't know if beginning my period is giving me like a hormone shot. I don't know, but this is the data. This is how I'm ending day 5. Day 6, Vyvanse with Brecky from 30. Let's go. All right, I got back from working out, and now I'm sitting down to do some work. Took a shower. I wanted to show you what I'm going to be eating on probably for the next like 7 hours. That's okay. I have the tiniest bit of a protein shake. And then in here is plain rice, white beans, some lentil soup with spinach and cauliflower, ground turkey, a scoop of avocado, and then carrots. I don't need it to be appetizing. I just need it to have complex carbohydrates and protein and some healthy fats so that I don't have an extreme blood sugar crash. I have felt very lucky so far on Vyvanse because I don't have the nausea or the major food aversions. I just don't necessarily want to eat, and I'm not thinking about it. But I know that when I eat every few hours, it's very helpful. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna work, and such is life. It's day 7. It's also day 2 of my period. So I ate breakfast. I had a piece of toast 30 minutes ago, and I'm taking my Vyvanse a little bit later than I usually do. It's 9, and part of that is because I am a full-time actor and we have evening shows. So I kind of would like it to be there a little bit. So we're gonna see. This has been lasting like 12 hours for me. Cheers! It's at 9 today, and it has been a very productive day so far. I weed whacked my entire yard and deep cleaned my entire bathroom, did laundry, put things away, was able to get rid of stuff. And in the middle of it, one thing that I noticed was that when I was going to do a task, so I have to bring all the cleaners from downstairs upstairs to clean my bathroom, I didn't forget any of them. And usually the first 15 to 20 minutes of me beginning a task is trying to find the tools to do it and then being in the middle of it and having to stop because I have forgotten something else. That is cleaning my house. That is anything outside. I'm just so forgetful. And while it's like funny to the outside world, it's not quirky and fun at all. It's very annoying to me and probably the people who are actually, in my life. So far taking it, I ate before I took it, then took it 30 minutes. I did not feel it until later than I usually did, but I didn't necessarily mind that only because my mornings are already pretty structured anyways. So right now I feel like it's super kicking in the afternoon when I typically have a lull in my energy anyways. So okay, it's like 2:30, the entire house is clean. I'm gonna hop on my walking treadmill and then do some editing, which is wild because usually if I have not got my writing done before noon, I cannot even fathom doing it. I feel extremely incapable of accessing my creativity after the morning. And now I'm like, it's all there. Like I'm not overstimulated by anything. It's all right here. It is day 8 of Vyvanse. I just got home from the gym. It is 7:45 right now. Taking my first dose. Had an apple before the gym and I'm just gonna wash this down with a protein shake. That's just what I'm feeling today. That's what we're gonna do. I just took a nap. Do you know how long it's been since I've taken a nap? It was just a little 20 minutes, but my mind was quiet. Day 9 Vyvanse. It has been a full week on Vyvanse, so a full week and a day, and I am now at the end of this vlog. And this will probably be my last one wherein I film it vertical on a camera, on my phone camera, because I do have a vlog camera. And now that I'm on ADHD medication, it doesn't really stress me out or overstimulate me at the thought of learning more about how my vlog camera works that I've had for 2 years. I have all the setup for, but it's just been like, because something I've realized literally in the last 9 days is my over catastrophizing of everything with ADHD. Everything felt like the biggest deal of all time, and this week it just hasn't. It just hasn't. And I think Vyvanse isn't gonna like change my brain. I'm still very much myself. I still have all of my same struggles, and this is a whole lifelong journey that I am embarking on, and I know that it's going to change. I already know that it's changed because I started Vyvanse when I was PMSing, unknowingly to me, because my periods have been extremely irregular for the last year, probably because of stress. Anyhow, I started it when I was PMSing, and then I was on my period, so the only data I really have about Vyvanse in this first week is based on my period, so I'm really looking forward to see what is the efficacy of it. Does it change at all when I'm not menstruating, because I know that hormones directly play with how the dopamine and all of that jazz. But I've had a lot of fun collecting data, and it has really helped me reframe this week because there have been so many different new stimuluses and experiences and sensations. And because I went into it autistically, framing this as this is just data collecting. There's no failures, there's no major successes. This is just learning what works and what doesn't and what I need to keep an eye out on, and meal timing and all of these things just in the preliminary first month. This is all just a great big experiment, and I really enjoy framing most of life that way anyways, and so I just applied it to the medication, and that has been very helpful for me because there have been a few days, even yesterday, I was just randomly so exhausted all day. So tired. I could focus, but I didn't want to do anything. I did not get good sleep the night before at all. And it was almost like the medication helped me be more in touch with where my brain was, because usually when I've not gotten good sleep, my ADHD goes into overdrive and is like, we know we're low on everything, so you need to be extra busy. And yesterday I was able to lay down and take a nap. I have not been able to take a nap, let alone fall asleep. Usually if I know that I need a nap and I cannot function for the rest of the day without one, I have to set a timer for an hour because it takes me at least 40 minutes to get my mind to stop racing for me to be able to fall asleep at all, and it's usually not good. I was able to fall asleep within like 10 minutes and take a 20-minute restorative nap. That's big. That is big. Like, I feel, you know, my brain always overcompensated for me before when I was exhausted, and now I'm just in touch with where my brain is at of, you're tired, go to sleep, instead of you're tired, freak out. And so that's been really amazing. So I'm excited to keep documenting this and seeing how it affects and interacts with my writing and also my acting and everything else about my entire career. One thing that's been just what it is that I have a really weird life schedule because I am a professional full-time regional theater actor, which means that my working hours are on one show days 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. or 10:30 p.m. and on two show days we're working from 1 to 10 p.m. I wake up really early to do my other stuff, i.e. writing, and so my Vyvanse has worn off by the time I do my other job of acting. However, while that's been a little bit of like an adjustment just because I'm going into that night show post crash and it feels like I'm coming to that night show after a day of being at the amusement park, it is still a better place than when I was coming to that show after a day of extreme overstimulation. My exhaustion is a little bit different, and at the end of the shows, I'm definitely feeling like, okay, I'm excited to go to sleep. But that's good. I have really enjoyed being so sleepy by the end of the day that I can just zonk out. And for the most part, after I have figured out timing, that has been pretty easy. Yesterday, I fell asleep so easy and slept like a baby. As long as I have a little nighttime snack, I'm able to sleep through the night because my appetite suppression is a thing. I have been able to keep not on top of it. I'm eating way less than I was before, but I'm trying to make them as nutrient dense as possible. And I always have a little nighttime snack of seed butter and pumpkin seeds and a little bit of a banana before bed. And that has helped my sleep a lot because what was waking me up was not the medication. It was my blood sugar crashing in the middle of the night. So lots to learn. I'm just really grateful to be on medication. Really is the best thing that I've ever done for myself, and it was a really difficult process to get the diagnosis and long, and I'm glad that I stuck it out because I know that's a barrier to entry in regards to getting diagnosed and getting on prescription anything, because that's not usually something ADHDers are great at. Is here's a laundry list of things that you have to check off before you get anywhere. A list, that's the quickest way for me to see myself out. So it's been really wonderful and I'm really excited about it. So the end of week 1.